What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, some of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully, you guys are doing awesome and taking care of yourselves. Having a great day. The sun is out, man. It's not a million degrees. And, God, life just can't get much better, can it? I mean, hey, I may be out of shape. I might be trying to get back into shape, but you know what? I'm going to take each day as it comes and run with it. Staying positive, staying mentally healthy until I can get physically healthy. Every day is a different story with this body I got. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about some tall mantis-like beings that an experiencer met in Pennsylvania that he felt might have been guardian angels with golden armor. So what is going? I've never heard of really any species really having golden armor. I've heard of, grays having a silver bodysuit or like a gray dull bodysuit that basically matches the color of their skin. But nothing like an alternative color to their skin. Even the reptilians seem to walk around like big Komodo dragons. They just walk around in their skin, is what it seems like. They don't have a lot of attire except for maybe a few instances where they might have had certain aliens, not reptilians, but just certain aliens had like a badge with a snake on it. We've heard that. But let's get into this story. So, in this story, the experiencer encountered tall entities with extremely large, protruding black eyes with a goldish armor. So, the bodies were extremely skinny but muscular. Sound like basketball players, huh? So, the report came into Phantoms and Monsters, and it states that, hello, sir. I found your channel a few months ago, and because I was trying to look for an explanation as to what I had seen, uh, these tall white angels that look like bugs. Tall white angels that look like bugs. This happened in South Central Pennsylvania, July 2013. So it's been 11 years. And he states, I was injured and I was not on any meds or drinking. So he's basically justifying the fact that he was sober. I was just resting and trying to heal in my room from his injury. There was four of them in my room. The height was about 8 to 9.5 feet tall, with extremely large protruding black eyes, with goldish colored armor. The bodies were extremely skinny but muscular. I don't know the exact height because they had to duck within my room when they came through the air and the walls. From the entities, I felt overwhelming love and compassion like a parent for their child. The first one spoke to me through my thoughts. He said, "Don't be scared." And then he puts in caps, "Don't be scared." She can see us. She can see us. Don't be scared. It was telling me in my brain. I was looking and listening at them around my room. You can tell this might be, um, somebody with English as a second language, so I apologize if it's a little bit jumbled and the words are a little bit off. The whole experience only lasted a few minutes before I blacked out. The next morning, I told my mom, and she said she prayed for guardian angels to be around me. My husband told me, "Do not say that or they will put me in the crazy home." Then I secretly told my best friend, and she told me that a girl in our town was forced into a hospital by her family because she saw aliens. Isn't that interesting? If we put everybody into a hospital that saw aliens in the United States, everybody would be in the hospital. Especially down in Las Vegas with that issue, with all those aliens, and then all the aliens from the Miami Mall incident. So the writer goes on to state, so I was shocked because I never knew the story of the other girl until she had told me. I tried to explain that these were angels, that they looked extremely tall, but they did kind of look like bug people. But after that, I kept quiet about it for what seemed to be years. Now, as I do research online, it's hard to find any stories about tall bug-like entities. And yes, they were telepathic. They were as real as a glass of water. I've never seen a UFO, and I've never been abducted. I was never a believer, actually, until that night. So this is really interesting. Okay, so that's the end of hers, and then it goes on to discuss what the poster from Phantoms and Monsters states. He states, "I doubt these were guardian angels or any other celestial being. They just don't show up in your room, much less as a group. Most likely, these were other non-terrestrial entities or aliens." Similar to what was encountered in some of the other praying mantis stories. As far as the beings having love and compassion for the eyewitness, I suppose that's debatable. And that's Lon from Phantoms of Monsters. So, I think, when we look at these stories, we have to look at them with a, kind of an open mind and understand that this is what the experiencer saw. This is what they felt they saw. This is what they're reporting. So we have to believe in their story because it's their truth. I mean, our truth is our truth, their truth is their truth. But what is it? Why would they have golden armor? Were they trying to project themselves as a like a alien, angel alien type being? Were they trying to show this person that they were peaceful with this golden armor? Were they trying to project an angelic look for some reason? Maybe they thought if they would present themselves as angels, that the person would be less afraid. Well, the person was able to remember this part, but they feel like they were never abducted. Well, I'll tell you, if aliens were showing up in your room, they came for a reason. They came for your DNA, or they came for some other energy specific reason, or to communicate with you. There's more to this story. This person needs to undergo hypnotic regression and find out what exactly happened, because they're not just going to show up, say hi, and leave. There's no point. Nobody's going to put that much energy into potentially being shot down by the military, potentially being attacked by somebody in the house. Okay, there's more to this. So we have to dive deeper. This person has to undergo and do the proper steps. It is great to hear another story about praying mantis-like beings. We don't hear enough about them. They're pretty rare. They seem to be in kind of like the upper echelon of the alien groups. They don't seem to be in cahoots with the reptilians. They don't seem to be in cahoots with the Pleiadians or the Nordics or any human types alien species. They seem to be doing their own thing. They seem to be very scientifically interested in our bodies and in cells and in creating life. They're not so much emotional. They're not so much interested in the arts that we know of. But that's just our limited understanding of this. That's all that is. It's our limited understanding of what they're looking for. Back home, they might have rock and roll bands. They might have Alien Elvis. They might have Alien Beatles. They might have John Bon Jovi. They might have a whole bunch of their own pop stars and rock stars that we don't know about. So I think that when we look at this, we have to say, okay, when they come to us, they are coming for their own scientific purposes, but maybe back home there's a different storyline there that we just don't know about yet. So that's the basis of what we understand. That's the basis of what we know. Um, there have been stories about praying mantises being evil, or at least being very aggressive with their surgical techniques, with massive needles going into eyes, going into like the sides of the eyes, implanting what we think might be tracking devices. Uh, they might be implanting some sort of mental device that they can track our thoughts with. Might be implanting something totally different that we don't even know about, totally inhuman, right? Totally alien, if you will. These praying mantis are highly intelligent. From reports, they've been around for millions and millions of years. They come with their own ships. Their ships are translucent. They're able to be invisible. They again, don't seem to be particularly violent, but they also don't seem to be particularly caring for us. In some reports, in other reports like this one, they say that they felt tremendous love. That when there was another story where a woman was completely terrified, and when the praying mantis put their hand on her, or its claw, or whatever you want to call it, she felt completely calm, completely warm with joy and happy. That's how they can manipulate you. You know, that's how powerful these beings are. They can manipulate you if they want to. They can change your mental status. And it's amazing they can do it with their hand. They don't need to do it with like some sort of device. We have the capability as humans to be able to manipulate people's emotional states with devices, with frequencies. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but they have the technology to do it. They just haven't come out. It's not going to be at like Walmart where you can go pick one up and zap somebody and make them happy, because then everybody would be manipulating everybody. We're just not ready for that kind of technology. But there's patents out there for it. There's been tests that have been completed for this, and they've been documented. So it's amazing to me that these species have evolved to the point that they're able to manipulate your emotional state with their bodies, much like these healers that we talk about. And I always talk about Charlie Goldsmith, but there's many other healers. There's been healers throughout time that have been able to achieve this, that science just hasn't been able to explain yet because we don't have the testing for it. But to be able to heal or to be able to calm someone that drastically, imagine what that would do for so many people, including myself, that have massive anxiety or depression or uh, or psychosis symptoms, or anything. These, to have this kind of power would immediately change society, because it would allow us to calm ourselves, to not instantly just go into a rage state when somebody cuts us off. It would allow us to manage our symptoms better when we are in pain, when we are suffering with a nerve disorder. A lot of people have nerve disorders, a lot of nerve pain from surgeries, a lot of muscle pain from surgeries or pulling your muscles. And a lot, people live day to day with all of these medications that they need. But if they had the skills like these mantis beings have, our body, our societies could change overnight. They really could. And I think these beings could teach us how to do that, but they're not interested in that. That's not their goal. Their goal is to take care of their species, and that's about it. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll be able to utilize the power of these creatures, if they allow us to siphon it off or they teach it to us, one or the other. I hope that one day we do. I hope that one day we become less focused on our financial abilities and skills and capabilities, and we focus more on what we're able to give to others. So take it for what you will. I hope that you take care of yourself spiritually, physically, emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams, and as always, continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves. Lockdown Universe out. Peace.